All right, today we are diving into a really fascinating paper that finds a totally unexpected lesson hidden inside all the hype around psychedelics. And believe it or not, it's a lesson that could completely change how we think about our most common antidepressant treatments. I mean, think about it for a second. What on earth could a profound, hours-long psychedelic experience have in common with a little pill you take every single day? They seem like they're from different universes. But what if they actually share a deep, fundamental secret about how our brains can change for the better? You've seen the headlines, right? Psychedelics are everywhere, being called a revolution in mental health. But what this new research suggests is that maybe their biggest gift isn't the drugs themselves. Maybe it's what they can teach us about the psychiatric treatments we've been using for decades. And that brings us right to SSRIs. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. They're the frontline go-to treatment for depression. But there's this huge puzzle at the heart of it. For some people, they are an absolute game changer. And for a whole lot of others, they just don't do much at all. The outcomes are just all over the map. You have the responders who feel a real, significant improvement, but then you have this massive group of non-responders who see little to no benefit. And for some of them, well, the story gets even worse. In fact, get this. One massive analysis found that for nearly a quarter of the people who don't respond well, taking an SSRI was actually worse than taking a sugar pill. Their depression didn't just stay flat, it got noticeably worse. So what in the world is going on here? Well, the answer, according to this new paper, might lie in that shared secret I mentioned. It turns out that despite the wildly different experiences they cause, both psychedelics and SSRIs might be pushing the exact same biological button in our brains. And that button is called neuroplasticity. It's the brain's incredible, almost magical ability to rewire itself. The analogy here is perfect. These drugs seem to take the hardened, set-in-its-ways clay of the adult brain and make it soft and workable again, creating this amazing opportunity for it to be reshaped. Now, this whole idea is tied to something scientists call critical periods. Those windows of time when we're young and our brains are basically sponges, just soaking up everything from our environment to build our core mental circuits for life. And normally, those windows slam shut in adulthood. But here is the absolute kicker. The research is showing that both psychedelics and SSRIs can do something that was once thought impossible. They can pry open those sensitive critical periods again, right in the middle of adulthood, making the brain super responsive to its surroundings once more. This completely flips the script on how we thought these drugs worked. The old idea, instructive causality, was that an SSRI directly instructs the brain to be happy. It just turns up the mood dial. But this new theory, permissive causality, says no, the drug doesn't command anything. It simply permits the brain to change by making it way more sensitive to the world around it. And if that's true, it leads to this incredibly powerful idea. If the drug just makes the brain more sensitive, then maybe the most important factor isn't the pill at all. Maybe it's the environment you're in while you're taking it. So how do you test that? Well, there's this brilliant experiment. Researchers took a bunch of chronically stressed mice, gave them all an SSRI, and then split them up. Half went to a really great, enriched environment with toys and friends. The other half went to a stressful, isolating one. And the results were, wow, they were stunning. The exact same drug had the complete opposite effects depending on the cage. In the good environment, the mice got better. But in the stressful environment, their depressive behaviors actually got worse. It's like the researchers who did a similar study said, SSRIs act as an amplifier of the influence of living conditions. The drug isn't the message. The drug is just turning up the volume on whatever message the world is sending. And look, this isn't just some weird thing that happens in lab mice. When you look at the human data, what are the biggest predictors for who will fail to respond to an SSRI? It's not about their specific symptoms. It's about socioeconomic factors. It's low income, low education, unemployment, all signs of a stressful environment. And it gets even wilder. One major analysis found that higher doses of an SSRI could amplify the effect of your environment on your mood by up to 37 times. The more you soften that brain clay, the more the world around you gets to shape it, for better or for worse. So let's bring this all the way back around to where we started, psychedelics, because this is the big lesson they have to offer. People in the psychedelic world have understood this core principle for a very, very long time. They have a name for it, set and setting.
So what does that actually mean? Well, set is your internal world, your mindset, what you expect, what you hope for. And setting is your external world, the physical room, who you're with, the whole vibe of the situation. Together, they create the container for the entire experience.
The reason those modern psychedelic clinical trials get such incredible results isn't just because of the pill they give people. It's because of all the therapy that goes with it, the careful preparation and integration work that is designed specifically to optimize both the set and the setting, to guide that plastic brain state towards healing. And this brings us to the final, really powerful takeaway here. If SSRIs also put our brains into a state where they are way more sensitive to the environment, what does that mean for how we've been prescribing them for the last 30 years?
It means that just writing a prescription and sending someone on their way without ever considering their life context, well, it's like throwing a seed into toxic soil and just hoping for the best. If that person's setting is full of stress and isolation, that pill might actually be amplifying the harm.
So the answer seems pretty clear. We need a much more holistic approach. It means that medication should go hand in hand with high-quality therapy to help with the set. And it means we need to bring in social workers and case managers to help with this setting. It means we have to start seeing that things like poverty and stress aren't separate from mental health. They're a critical part of the treatment. So in the end, this research leaves us with one giant, profound question to chew on. If these medicines can make our brains open and ready for change, what kind of world are we building for that change to actually take root? Thanks for joining us.